the New York Times explosive report indicating that Donald Trump pressured his staff to grant security clearance to Jared Kushner, we now learn that he did the exact same thing for his daughter, Ivanka. So Trump pressured his then chief of staff, John Kelly, and White House counsel Don McGahn to grant Ivanka security clearance against their recommendations. So, of course, the FBI has to do a background check in order to decide whether or not someone should be cleared for security clearance. And so they did a background check and some issues came up. We don't know what those issues are. However, after concerns were raised by the personnel office following this FBI background check, Trump pushed Kelly and McGahn to make the decision on his daughter and son-in-law's clearances, so it did not appear as if he was tainting the process to favor his family, but then both of them refused. And after that, Trump granted them their security clearances.
He's like, I want to make it seem like I'm not granting a favor, but sir, you would be, because we're against it. Fine, I'm granting them a favor. Okay, now we already know about Jared Kushner and stories that were released last week. Now it turns out it's also Ivanka Trump. They apparently were both such national security dangers that that the officials who normally go through that process thought they should not be given clearance. They are not to be trusted with national security information. Wow. And so Trump's like, I don't like that. I want them to get the information whether they're trustworthy or not. And one, it's his family, okay? My God, if
it would be a huge scandal under any other administration, as it should be, So if Obama had daughters who were old enough during his administration to work as his aides, and he pushed through their security clearances, we would be outraged, we would be angry, right?
No, I'll give you an even better one. If Hillary Clinton had won and they flagged Chelsea Clinton as a national security threat. Not a national security threat, that's not fair.
Right.
As someone who is not trustworthy enough to get clearance. So first of all, there would have been congressional hearings over it. They're like, what's Chelsea Clinton doing that she can't even have access to the lowest level of information, right? There's secret, there's top secret, there's need to know. She can't clear any of the bars. Jesus, does she have a deal with a foreign entity? What's going on here? Did she commit a crime we're not aware of? And if Hillary Clinton was like, I'm overruling Democrats that I personally picked to put into these positions, and national security officials is saying, no, despite the fact that they say Chelsea should definitely not get one, she's gonna get one anyway. Boom. I mean, it would have exploded as the biggest issue in her tenure by an order of magnitude. I know that Trump's criminality has overwhelmed us. He does so many maniacal things, so many illegal things that it's hard to keep up. But just willy-nilly giving national security's top secrets to what all of your intelligence folks are saying, do not give it to them, that is extraordinary.
What he manages to do so well is remain unapologetic regardless of what potential crimes he's being accused of, regardless of his own rhetoric, which further divides people based on race or based on socioeconomic status. All of these things he does in plain sight. And if he gets criticism for it, and I say if, because at this point, I think people have become like desensitized by him, right? But if he does get criticism, he never apologizes, he'll double down. And it's amazing because I think right now, everything in our country, everything about our political system is being tested. I think that our democratic system is being tested. And it really shows you how fragile it is, because if we don't have a way of holding him accountable for doing the types of things he's doing right now, well then what does it say about us? We don't have a democracy if that's the case.
So look, Ivanka's got a whole number of potential conflicts of interest why she might have been turned down. Business deals with foreign interests, and would that sway her, whether she's gonna get millions, hundreds of millions of dollars from another country? And so is she have access to secrets that affect that country? Those are interesting questions, and one the House is asking and that the president should answer. Of course he won't, because all he ever does is cover up. He's led a whole life of cover-ups for all of his different crimes. But to me, the more interesting question is Jared Kushner. So he lied about meeting with the Russian ambassador and with a head of a Russian bank during the transition. After Trump won and before they got into office, why did Jared Kushner go meet with a Russian bank and then cover that up and not tell people. If there was a legitimate business interest that had nothing to do with the Trump White House, you wouldn't need to lie about it. So he might have given Kushner clearance, not just because he's a family member and he's offended that they didn't get the clearance. Kushner might be his mule. And so Trump can't go meet with the head of a Russian bank that he probably owes money to. And they can't give directives, hey, if you don't want us to collect that money or whatever the deal might be, you better do X. He needs a go-between. Here, it appears that there's a few people that he trusts to be a go-between. One is Eric Prince, the brother of Betsy DeVos and former owner of Blackwater. He goes and has a secret meeting with the Russians in Seychelles Island. Another is Jared Kushner, who meets with the Russian ambassador and the Russian bank. So Trump, by giving him security clearance, might be protecting his asset that allows him to communicate with the Russians.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely possible. And I think it goes even beyond the Russians, because Jared Kushner has a very tight, cozy relationship with the Saudi royals. And so maybe there's there's some benefit in giving him security clearance when it comes to issues like that. I don't know. All I know is the way that the security clearance was obtained both for Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump is it's not typical. It's more than just screaming nepotism. I mean, there were red flags raised when it came to this FBI background check, and he didn't care. He pushed for it anyway. So if you're a right-winger who believes that national security is of the utmost importance, and that's what we've been hearing over and over again from the right wing since 9/11, well then what's going on now? Are you okay with this? Are you okay with people who have been flagged being given security clearance simply because they're Trump's family members? Now, with that said, though, I do want to go to an interview that Ivanka Trump had about 3 weeks ago on ABC News. And she was asked about Jared Kushner's security clearance, and she had an interesting answer. Take a look.
There were some issues early on, and there are a lot of people that question whether you were given special treatment by the president, overriding other officials. Can you speak to that?
There were anonymous leaks about there being issues, but the president had no involvement pertaining to my clearance or my husband's clearance. Zero.
What were the problems early on?
There weren't any.
Ding, ding, ding. We have a clear and obvious lie. The apple does not fall far from the tree. So she's like, oh, there were no problems. She knows at a bare minimum, she knows exactly that there were problems. There's no question about that. She could later claim, hey, it wasn't me. I didn't know daddy cleared it for me like he's cleared everything for me in my life. I'm a self-made man.
That is what her spokesperson is claiming, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, God, what would be phenomenal is if you got Jared Kushner cornered, you think he won't flip on Trump? Is there anything that Weasley guy wouldn't do? So, okay, anyway. So that's a little bit of speculation. We'll see how that plays out. But we do know this: if you care about national security, you would want to know why they were flagged, and whether it was improper for Trump to clear them, and why he cleared them. So those are perfectly legitimate questions that any sensible Congress would ask any president of any party. Now, you want to cover up for Trump? That's on you. But these are perfectly reasonable requests. Thanks for watching this free clip of the Young Turks. Don't forget to become a TYT member today. For more exclusive content, join now at tyt.com/join.